Just about every workplace has slip and trip hazards, so I would normally expect to see this on any NG2 or IG2 practical project. Let me take you through a quick tutorial showing you some key mistakes to avoid with this and showing you how to describe the hazard and what legislation you can use when you justify it in part 3. So first thing is we will look at our hazard categories. Here they are, and if we zoom in a little bit we can see there slips and trips. Slips and trips, one hazard category for both types of issues. And here is the first thing to consider. The latest information I've received from NEBOSH, the latest feedback I've seen from examiners, is that they would prefer it if the slip hazards were separate from the trip hazards. Because if you think about it, it makes sense, doesn't it? Slipping is very different to tripping. The incident is different. One's a slip, one's a trip, obviously. And the control measures are different too. Slipping will have things like cleaning and drainage and slip-resistant floors and slip-resistant footwear and perhaps spillage procedures and perhaps spill containment. That's all very different to the trip hazards. The trip hazards are mainly going to be something like the storage organization of the workplace, housekeeping procedures, designated areas for where things go, designing out or eliminating fixed trip hazards and so on, warning signs where there is a fixed trip hazard, painting things yellow and all of that. So they're actually quite different. So what do we do then? Well, we will write slips and trips as a hazard category for both slips and trips. It is still the same hazard category, so let's put that in twice. Slips and trips. And in one of them, we're going to put our slip hazards, and in the other, we're going to put our trip hazards. So we could say regular leaks of oil from the production machinery onto the factory floor. Very clearly, that is a slip hazard. And now we're going to put a trip hazard. Stored items on the floor, such as pallets, boxes of raw materials, and finished goods. Pallet trucks, sometimes left on walkways. Very clearly, that is a load of different trip hazards, all the housekeeping related trip hazards. So separate the two, that would make sense. And then in the who might be harmed and how, we're going to have perhaps a similar who and perhaps a similar injury, but we'll have a different type of incident. The slip hazards will have slips and the trip hazards will have trips. In the what are you already doing and what more do you need to do? Again, we need to bring ourselves into legal compliance, and we need to use the hierarchy of control, and we need to reduce the risks to as low a level as we can. So we need to look at what legislation is involved. But firstly, a quick one about the hierarchy of control. Make sure you try to eliminate things. Make sure you try and substitute things. Make sure you try to engineer things out. So these leaks, I would like to, if I can, try to eliminate these through some kind of program of ongoing maintenance. Or even better, can we just eliminate the machinery which needs oil? Like, can we change the machine which doesn't use a liquid oil which can drip? And yes, we are going to need some housekeeping procedures, some spillage procedures with a spill kit and a trained spillage team. But I'll go one further. Can we apply some kind of slip-resistant coating to the floor to reduce the slipperiness? That's a great kind of engineered control, isn't it? Which is far higher up the hierarchy than just slip-resistant shoes and cleaning. Try to use the hierarchy wherever you can. Now, the main legislation for the UK NEBOSH NGC students, the national students, is going to be the Workplace Health, Safety and Welfare Regulations, 1992. And if we scroll down, it's not completely obvious, but here's condition of floors and traffic routes. It says every floor in a workplace and surface of every traffic route shall be of a construction that is suitable for the purpose for which it is used. Which means if it's a wet area, a kitchen area, you need to design it so that it's not slippery even when it's wet. You have to design it so it's suitable for getting wet. It talks here about how nothing shall have a whole slope, be uneven or slippery to expose anyone to their risks to health and safety. It says things shall have an effective means of drainage where necessary. It talks about the obstructions. Traffic routes shall be kept free from obstructions and from anything which can cause someone to slip, trip or fall. So, lots to go at there for your legal arguments, which you can then use in this section here. Specific legal arguments. So if you've got a slip hazard, trip hazard, you can use those duties there if you want to. Now the international student studying the NEBOSH IGC, well, you haven't got anything quite as specific as that. But let's take a look at what you do have. So you do have the general C155, which you can use. And if we go down here, we've got actions at the level of the undertaking. So these duties here can be applied to slip and trip hazards. We then have the recommendation, R164. Again, a bit general this. But if we go down to action at the level of the undertaking, you can certainly apply these things here to slip and trip hazards. If you're in construction, we have a construction convention, we have a construction recommendation, and you'll probably find if you scroll down here, you'll probably find at some point something which can be used for slips and trips. And here we have housekeeping programs. There we are, proper storage, proper removal of waste. Great stuff. You can use that for your trip hazards perhaps. If we go to the codes of practice, the ILO codes of practice, in here, if we just do a quick search for trip, we might find something that risks of slipping, tripping and falling. So page 75, and bang, there it is. You've got a number of different duties there. This is all in relation to machinery, mind. It's not about the floor, it's about machines. If you work in construction, similar thing. If we scroll down here, we can see housekeeping. So that might be a good one we can use. Housekeeping, I think that's all there is. Click on that. And you can see things have got to be kept free from obstructions. We've got a housekeeping program, removal of waste, workways and passageways are slippery, should be cleaned up, and so on. So plenty of things that you can use when justifying your action in there. Just remember, do not under any circumstances copy what I'm writing here. These are just examples. These are my hazards. It's my work. It's not yours. Everything you write should be your own work. And if you copy what I've written there, there's a chance that you will be reported and investigated for malpractice, and if found guilty, likely to have wasted your time, and you might even get banned. So best not do that. See you in the next one.